If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Alright, Cordae just dropped his new album From a Bird's Eye View, and as you know, I've made a lot of videos about this thing leading up to its release. I've had some high expectations. I was always talking about Cordae being like the J. Cole of this new generation, being the one that doesn't just fall into the same patterns of just rapping about drugs and the fast lifestyle and women and all that, but actually someone who takes a more, distanced approach to this, who wants to talk about some real life stuff. We've seen this in the rollout leading up to this album. In the documentary, for example, he dropped, where he even traveled to Egypt just to gain different perspectives and wanted to incorporate that on this new album, which he, said is gonna solidify his spot as the best under 25, to do it best under 30, whatever he claimed. So this man was out here hungry, and he dropped a lot of stuff that I was really, excited about. We had that freestyle Over the Heart Part 4 from Kendrick Lamar, that beat. We've had that Sinister single, the Super single. We've gotten the documentaries, as I just said. We got a whole bunch of, very high budget trailers for this thing. And then the album dropped, and I was honestly looking forward to this thing so much. And we had a really good track list. I mean, we had Gunna on here, we had Wayne on here, Her, Lil Durk, Freddie Gibbs, Nas, Stevie Wonder, Eminem, and Roddy Ricch. So this thing was looking hella packed, and I was excited for this thing. But honestly, now that I listen to it, it's kind of just like sobering. It's kind of disappointing. It's very hard to exactly determine where that comes from, but I'm gonna try to break it down in this video. So let's jump straight into it. So this thing is packed with 12 tracks. Well, 14 in total, but 2 of them are, special tracks. And we start off with an intro from Shallow Young, which kind of sets up the whole record, which I thought was actually a cool way to start this. And then we go into the first track, Sean Michelle. And this one, after I finished listening to it, it kind of felt like, okay, maybe this is leading into something, because one thing that I just don't like about this whole album, I thought that this was going to be grander. I like that he takes a very mellow approach to these tracks. It's oftentimes just a boom bap beat with no hook, just him rapping, or maybe doing like a little mellow chorus here or there, but never like a big drop, never like some grandiose instrumentals on there. This can be nice, but from what we've heard, from the way that he hyped this up, especially also because he dropped that super track, which was, a bit more energetic, and also the Sinister track, I thought that the rest of the album was also going to be in the same wave. That doesn't mean I don't like this. I really like those deep cuts where artists, are on a more mellow beat, taking a lyrical approach to this. But this just really continued throughout the whole album, and I just don't know where the climax of this thing was, because it was always just like on this very low level, kind of like rising, but then never really rose. And he also made like a really big deal out of this, saying like, yo, you need to listen to track 1 through 12 in one sitting, no skips, just like this intended the way it's gonna be. And I just never really felt any connection between these tracks. I mean, you can kind of see some lyrical connections in there, but from an album that is like, yo, the way it's intended to be listened to needs to be no skips and stuff like that, I was expecting some, great transitions. I was expecting some like, The Weeknd, Dawn FM or something, where it actually is like all hanging together, but this was not really that. Well, then we had Super. I like that track, but it's nothing too deep. Mama's Hood and Want For Me were actually pretty nice tracks, and I think you can play them in like a chill mood, like a chill vibe, and just like enjoy them. But as I said, it's just always on this like very low level, never surpassing a certain threshold in terms of, getting to somewhat of a climax of this album. It kind of feels like you're just leading up to something the whole album, but it never comes. Today with Gunna was a pretty cool track. I mean, we also got a music video for that I quite enjoyed, but it was also nothing crazy. It's just like what you would expect from a Gunna, feature. But that was a nice track. I like the hook on there. Shallow's interlude was, that was just kind of a bridge in between there. I thought that maybe after that, it was going to pick up again. See Carter is actually a pretty cool track, but again, never really leading up to anything. He also did a Tiny Desk performance for this, so go check that out if you haven't yet. Sinister with Lil Wayne, honestly, is one of my favorite tracks on here, but we already heard that. So, that was nothing crazy. Then Chronicles with her and Lil Durk, I thought Cordae's vocals on here were just really good, showing that he really improved his, vocal performance and vocal range and all of that in the past 2 years since Lost Boy dropped. But it didn't really it didn't feel like it fit into the whole record. Like, I don't know how this was supposed to be listened to in one sitting, in no skips. Like, I don't feel any connection between these tracks. This could literally just be like another playlist. Please let me know if you have any more, deeper information how these tracks hang together. But I listened to this thing a couple of times and it just doesn't make sense to me that he advertised this as like a full piece of art that you need to, go in, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Champagne Glasses with Freddie Gibbs, quote unquote Nas, and Stevie Wonder. Well, Nas was missing. Where the F is Nas on here? I was hyped for this Nas feature. Cordae already hopped on that Life is Like a Dice Game remix or rework that they did, and I thought the two of them fit together perfectly. And I mean, Freddie Gibbs wasn't too bad on here. Not his best performance by any means, but still he was pretty good, and I liked the little hook from Cordae. But this was the second to last track, and I still felt like we hadn't reached the climax of this album, so I was pretty like, yo, where is this going? And then I was just let down when Nas never came around on that track, and I'm still very sad about that. Well, the last track, Westlake High, is his personal last call, like Kanye or J. Cole or Logic have already done, where he spends like the first half of the track rapping a little bit, talking about going back to his old high school, seeing how they vibe there and just going back to his roots, and the other half then in like a spoken word talking about, yo, I made it, and like this is all that I ever wanted, but the happiness didn't come with the money and all that. I like that. But, I feel like that's only fitting after, like, an album that actually had a certain type of climax and arch. Well, then the Diss 2 is a Parables remix with Eminem with a completely whack Eminem verse. I don't like the way that Eminem performed on here at all. I mean, I can see what he was trying to do, but even the audio quality, like the recording quality of Eminem on here, was just bad. It was thin at times and switched up, and this felt like it was just like put together in like one night, and they were like tired and had to, submit it the next day, and that's where they're like, yeah, it's Eminem verse, people are going to listen to this anyway, however we do this. Nah, I'm not going to go back to this. I didn't like that. And then Gifted with Roddy Ricch, also just as like a bonus track. Never really liked that track a lot, but it was okay. So yeah, this album is kind of, if you were really hyped up for this like I was, if you were expecting something like artistically crazy from Cordae, not even that, but just something solid, this is maybe, this is a kind of a letdown. And I think that I was expecting way more from this. I don't know where Cordae is going to go in the future with this, but I'm always going to watch him. So let's see where he moves next. Yeah, this is my opinions, of course. Now let me know what you thought about this album. Favorite track, least favorite track, missing Nas feature. What do you think about that? That Eminem verse? What was that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.